So we're right on the bottom of Hamoed and Aleph, the last Philly from the Mishnah. Behuda Omer Istasa Hizu. The Mishnah had said, in a case where you have a pair of Adam said Adis. Let's say Shimon and Levi said Adis, and then Yisachar and Zvulun said, no, Shimon and Levi were with us. Imano Yisam and Malcolm Pliny, they were with us in Chicago. Then Ephraim and Menashe showed up. And again, Yisachar and Zvulun say, no, Ephraim and Menashe also with us in Chicago. And then a third pair, and a fourth pair, even up to 100. And every pair that comes, Yisachar and Zvulun say, Imano Yisam and Malcolm Pliny. So Yehuda said to the Rabban say, okay, what could you do? It's everyone has a right to be. They can be mizaman as many groups as they want. Yehuda said, no, it's obviously a scam. It just happens to be that everyone was with them wherever, whoever happened to say it is really them in another place. That was Yehuda's time. Then the Mishnah had ended off. Yehuda says, unless it's except for the first, so they're all going to be, they're all going to be. Potter, they're not going to be considered Eidim except for the first pair. In fact, the Gemara on Hamoed base, if you're saying that it's conspiracy, it's a scam, why does the Mishnah say the first group, the first pair of Eidim is considered to be Eidim Zaym? Ravo says, well, no, we're talking about the first pair already got killed, I'll say Eidim Zaymim. And now there's nothing we can do to undo that. The Gemara might have a habit. So what is the Mishnah telling you, that you already did something, that you can't undo it? Let's say the Mishnah said, no, they were potter. You still can't undo it. So what kind of psak is that, Maida, to say that they got killed already, except for the first pair that already got killed?
Because if you say it doesn't work, then if they weren't killed yet, then we wouldn't kill them.
Yeah, that's what the Mishnah is saying, that according to Yehuda, we look at this second pair that's saying everyone is with us in a different place. We say they're scammers, and we don't listen to them, and nobody is an Eid Zayim, and if none of them get killed, I'll say them Zayim. None of them have a Kasha Zama. So, but the Mishnah said except for the first pair. So why is the first pair different? Why don't we say there are scammers? The guy by the first. One says no, we already killed the first pair. There's nothing we can do.
So there's no chiddush there.
That's what Gemara is asking. Yeah, what's the chiddush? So what are you telling me, that they already killed them? Okay, they already. And the hava, what happened happened. What is the point of telling us such a case?
There must be something else.
There must be something else. El amarava hachikama. Imene elikat achas neregas. Yikatfei ein neragin. That's not what it means. The Mishnah means to say. The Mishnah is telling you that if there's only one pair that Yisachar and Zebulun said is a Eid Zayim, then we believe them. That's a regular case of Eid Zayim. If there's more than one, then we don't believe them.
They wouldn't kill anybody.
They wouldn't kill anyone because we said that the second pair are not telling the truth. The Gemara, how could you say it means to say that you only get killed by the first one? Habilvad Kamar. The actual language of the Mishnah was the only one that's killed. Where's the Lashon? The only one that gets killed is the first cat. That's mashma. There were other kitas that came. So he says it can't be that you only kill when there's a single cat. It must be saying even when there's more than one, that only the first one gets killed. So kasha, we're stuck. It's not a good kasha on this pshat, but we're still stuck. This is the only pshat that makes sense. So
we don't kill anybody at that point. Once there's a third cat.
Right. Once there's even a second cat. Once there's a second cat, that the same mazimin, the second pair says about the set, whatever. I don't know.
The original. Just about the original. Cat.
When the second pair, the Edis Hamazimin, says about a second pair that they were also with us in another place, then we disregard them altogether. This Kat Hamazimin, the Kat that's saying they were with us in another place. So there was a woman who was involved in some kind of case. Gemara doesn't say what exactly she wanted, but she brought Adam to support her case. Vishtaka, Rashi says that they tested them in Bezdin, the Drishas Chakiris, and the Bezdin found out that they were lying. Their low stories didn't line up. I see Sadi, so she brought another pair of Adam to support her Vishtaka, and they were also lying. Azla I see Sadi Achrina, she bought a third pair, the Loyishtaka, and those were more well prepared. But in any case, they were not proven to be liars. Amar Rish Lakish, Chochazakazu. This Rish Lakish says we don't listen even to the third pair, even though we can't slug them up. Bezdin wasn't able to slug them up because this woman has already shown. He holds. He's going according to the Madam, who says you don't need three for a chazak, you only need two. And this woman already proved that she's bringing false Adam. So we assume that this pair is also false. Amalei Rebbe Elazar and he Kol Yisrael mi Hochseko. Rebbe Elazar says, what do you mean? It's true, this woman is a liar, and maybe we don't trust her. But now you have two new Adam that we know nothing about them. So we're going to say that they're going to be. It's true, she has a cheskes of that she's a liar, but they don't have. They have a cheskes kashrus, so we should believe them because of their chazaka. Excuse me. So Rebbe Elazar disagrees with Reish Lakish. Reish Lakish says this woman's bad chazaka that she's suborning false witnesses, who remains with her. And Rebbe Elazar says no, she has her own chazaka, and the Edom have their own chazaka. Zimrin Haviyasik Hamid Rabbi Yochanan. By the time Reish Lakish was sitting in front of Rabbi Yochanan together with Rebbe Elazar, Asakiyah Maisel Kamayu, and the same story happened. That there was a woman, somebody came, and the first two Adam were found to be false, and then the third one, the question was, could you believe the third pair? Amr Shlakish Chochsakazu. Shlakish said the same thing he had said before, that it's this woman has a chazaka that she's lying, that she gets false witnesses. Amr Rabbi Yochanan, Em Chochsakazu, Kol Yisrael mi Chochsako. Rabbi Yochanan said the same time that Rebbe Elazar had said before. Now Rebbe Elazar and Reish Lakish Rebbe Elazar was a Talmud. Rish Lakish argued he was a chaylik, he was a Talmud Chaver of Rabbi Yochanan. He was sitting there in the shir with Rabbi Yochanan. Hader Chazi Rebbe Elazar bishus. Rish Lakish gave side eye. He looked askance at Rebbe Elazar. Amalei Shamata Milim Bar Nafcha. Rebbe Elazar was a Talmud of Rabbi Yochanan, and Rebbe Elazar had said this as if it was his own. This svar of if just because this woman is a mufsik to be a liar doesn't mean that everyone is. So Rish Lakish was not happy that Rebbe Elazar had said over Rabbi Yochanan's svara and not said it over Bishmai. In any case, in any case, Lema Rish Lakish Damar Krabi Yehuda, Rabbi Yochanan Damar Krabanan. This, the result is over here, right? That this machlekes of Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish, Rabbi Yochanan says. Rish Lakish says that the woman is considered a muhsak to swear to get false Adam, and Rabbi Yochanan says no, just because she is doesn't apply to her Adam. That's very similar to our Mishnah. Our Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda says that if you have the same pair of Adam coming and contradicting every pair and saying they're Zaymim, we say they're lying. It's the same thing. We say they're muhsak to be lying. The same way. We don't trust them. The same we don't trust this woman. And on the other hand, the Rabbanan who argue on Rabbi Yehuda say no, everyone has their own chazaka. So until they're proven to be lying, we have to trust them. But and that's the same reason why they trust this woman. Amalach Rish Lakish says no. Another Amilach afilu karat l'Rabban. It could be, even though I say that this woman is hochzak, that she finds false Adam, I wouldn't say that about the Rabbanan would agree with me in my case. Even though Rabbanan say that we trust the same pair of Adam, say everyone is Adam Zaymim, but in my case they wouldn't trust her. I'd kind of come in Rabban Hassam Deleka to Kamahada. Over there's no one person who's going around trying to get these Adam Zaymim to be mazim everyone. And the Mefarshim explain, because even though there's that case, there was somebody who was accused of killing someone, right? And now each pair of Edom that come and say that he killed someone, now Edom Zaymim are coming. The same pair of Edom are saying they're with us in another place. But the guy who was accused of saying the false edus, he's thrown in jail. Like we learned in Sanhedrin, if someone is accused of killing someone, he gets thrown in jail until it's determined, until Bezdin comes to a psak din. So he can't be going recruiting people. He wasn't able to go recruit someone to say he's their Edom Zaymim. So therefore, we don't have. It's not similar to this case of the woman who keeps presenting Edom to Bezdin. These Edom Zaymim showed up on their own.
Well, I think I'm sure who's that Krivim who would do that?
Krivim Manat wouldn't be believed. They've been negay be'edus.
No. As recruiters.
Okay, they're not as. It's not as direct as over here. Over here, literally, the woman's showing up and saying, "Here's my Edom." This guy's stuck in jail. So maybe, you could also say maybe he went beforehand and made up. If anyone comes and says the edus about me, I'll pay you $1 million if you mazam all them. But that's speculative. Over here, we know this woman is coming to Edom, to Bezdin, presenting them.
Doesn't it make a difference whether her case is capital punishment? Then it's much it's easier than
right. I think that's going to be the although this woman, we don't. I guess this woman was not accused of murder, otherwise she would also be in jail. You're right. It should be. You should be able to say a taina that our mission was talking about someone who's getting killed. Okay, Kulam Yaragu. Yep, it's also good taina. Dr. Gemara. And the Rabbi Yechon would say the same thing. Rabbi Yechon Amalach Anot feel Rabbi Yehuda. Even though Rabbi Yehuda says it's a conspiracy in the Mishnah. Lagabi, like you said, the case of a Misa, where there is everyone who comes, the Edom are saying the Edom Zaymim, Ad kan Rabbi Yehuda Hasam Dami Natu Kuli Alma Gavihani Havakami. Avalhacha Hani Yadi Besadusa Vahani Yadi Besadusa. By the case of the woman, we could say that although it's true that you found that the first pair was lying, the second pair was lying, it doesn't mean that the woman was not right. It wasn't true what she said happened. Let's say she said, this guy stole from me. She knew that the guy stole from him, but she just didn't have Edom. So she kept on trying to get false Edom. But this pair of Edom may be Takasot. She was trying to get Edom because she couldn't find Edom to prove what really happened. So this new pair has a cheskes kashrus. There's no reason to believe that they're lying. Masha Enkin, in the case of the Mishnah, where the same pair is saying about everyone that you were with us in another place, that's not a likely thing to happen, that everyone was with them. Every single pair who came to testify happened to be there in a different place. So that's why the Rabbanan, that's why Rabbi Yehuda says over there that it's we don't trust them. I think the answer maybe to your question, you say that we're makel in Dinei Nefashos, because who says that the Dinei Nefashos there maybe the Edom could have been coming the other way. Maybe the Edom was saying that she's innocent. The case in the Mishnah, maybe the Edom will come and say they're innocent. Even though the Mishnah gives the case of saying that they get killed. So the Pashas is talking about. The Mishnah I don't think, was limiting itself just to where the Edom are saying it in Imam Yechayv. It could be Edom are. Maybe there's already Edom Zaymim, and these are new Edom Zaymim coming to be Mazim the Mazimin, and then she would be Mechuyev Misa if we don't disqualify them. If let's say there were Edom who already came and said that she was Mechuyev Misa, and then Edom came and were Mazim them, and now this group that's coming is being Mazim the Mazimin. So if they're going to be if we're going to disqualify them, then she'll get off the hook instead of being Mechayev.
So the case could still be a case of
Lakula. Yeah. Oh, good morning. Just got up to the Mishnah on Hamoed base. Yeah, we ran out of Gemaras. Here you go. Achi Yigmar Din. This is the basic din that we've been talking about from the beginning. That, like we said, there's only a narrow band in which someone come and aid Zayim. It has to be after the Gemar Din. The Eidim have to be coming to say. There has to have been a Gemar Din that we already decided. Let's say Reuven, Shimon and Levi say Reuven killed someone. If right away, before anything else happens, other Eidim come and say Shimon and Levi with us in another place, then they're not going to be Eidim Zayim. It has to be after there was already a Gemar Din that Reuven killed someone, then Shimon and Levi could be Eidim Zayim. I mean, we'll disqualify them as their Eidus, but we won't say that they get Kasher Zama. They get the punishment of Kasher Zama unless they're Gemar Din. And also on the other end, if Reuven already got killed based on Shimon and Levi's Eidus, we won't say that they're going to do Kasher Zama. It has to be, there was a Gemar Din based on the Eidim, but we didn't yet apply, we didn't yet carry out the sentence. So that's what the Mishnah is. Eino Eidim Zayim Neragan Ache Yigmar Hadin. Unless the Eidim that they're being Mazim already caused the Gemar Din. Shariat Stukin Oimrim. The Stukim used to say, the Stukim were very literal. They said, we only follow what says in the Old Testament. Ache Yaharag. They said it has to be after he killed. After the Eidim caused someone to be killed, then the Eidim Zayim Keit Kasher Zaman. Shenemar Nefesh bin Nefesh. The Gra and then the other Mefarshim all changed this to the lashon of where is it? Asen Yev and Asata Nefesh Tachas Nefesh. That's what we have in the Mishnah. But the Gra says V'lei Sachas Encha Nefesh bin Nefesh Ayin B'Ayin Shem B'Shem Yad B'Yad Regel B'Regel. That's by the Parsha of Eidim Zayim. Amalem Chachamim. It says only when it's a that's what the Tzdukim would say. Then it says Nefesh Benecha, so he has to actually get killed in order for the Eidim Zayim to get killed. Amalem Chacham, the Chacham said back them. Like Kanemar, I see some like Kasher Zam Lasas Lachav. The Torah says you should do to him like he wanted to do to his brother. Barayachav Kaim. The way the Torah is talking about it, like he tried to do it to his brother. Once he's dead, you wouldn't call him Lasis Lachav. You'd say Lasis Lemes. You wouldn't call him Achav if he was already dead. So the fact that the Torah says Lasas La'achav, that's mashma that the Eidim Zayim are talking about. The Eidim Zayim had testified about someone who's still alive. He hadn't yet had the sentence carried out on him. Then came Lama Nemer Nefesh B'Nefesh. The Gemara asks, so what about this pasuk that the Tzdukim used to say that you pay a life for a life? I might think as soon as they said their Eidus, and they were found to be Eidim Zayim, they should get killed. That it has to first be that there was a Gemar Din. So the Tzdukim, not like the Tzdukim wanted to say after the Din was carried out, and Nefesh B'Nefesh tells you, but it can't be before there was a Gemar Din.
So, based on what we just said, the way we interpreted the previous Mishnah is that it's talking about when he was already killed.
No, we didn't say that.
We said
Maida Hava, the first thing.
He was already killed.
So we were saying over there, right? But that was the Gemara's kasha. So what do you think?
It's not in the kasha because it never happened.
The Gemara's over there is saying that the first Eidim already got killed, not that the guy who they testified about got killed.
The Eidim got killed.
The Eidim got killed. So that's why, even though the other Eidim, we don't trust these Eidim Zayim, the people who keep on being Mazim, everyone who keep on, they already test. The first Eidim got killed, it's Eidim Zayim, but everyone else, we said that these Eidim that are saying the other Eidim are Zayimim, and we don't trust them. So therefore they're not going to get killed. But the first pair, it's too late. They already got killed. There's nothing you can do about it. So it's nothing to do with the original person. The
person is still alive and walking.
Yeah.
But the agent that sort of go into do to them kasher zamam, they take the place of the defendant.
Well, we saw before that it's possible that you could have both of them be killed, right? We're talking about one said on Monday and the other one said on Sunday. That was last night.
Right.
Not always the case. It doesn't take the place.
Doesn't take the place. Okay.
Yeah.
In other words,
as we're going to see, if you have two separate sets of Eidim, one watching here and one watching there, and one pair of Eidim turns out to be Eidim Zayimim, that pair will get killed, but the second pair that saw it will still get the person who did it get killed based on what they're saying. So it's not just it's not like like you said, taking the place of one. Look, as long as the person that the Edom would testified about when was not killed, then the Edom Zayim get killed. Hargu ein ragim. But if they cause them to get killed, then they're out of the parsha of Edom Zayim. They won't get killed. At least they won't get kasher zama. They'll certainly be, their edus will be disqualified, and then they're going to be chashed on edus for the future, but they themselves won't get killed at kasher zama. Amr Aviv, the father of Uribi, said to him, B'ni, lav kal v'chaymer hu? He said to him, isn't it a kal v'chaymer? Well, it doesn't make any sense. If somebody who says something, if Edom come to say edus, that becomes huzam. If they didn't kill him yet, they get killed. Certainly, if they got him killed, they should get killed, right? Doesn't make sense. Common sense would tell you the opposite of what this mission would tell you. We don't learn out that someone gets punished from a kal v'chaymer. If the Torah didn't tell you that after that someone got killed, after the person they were testifying about got killed, that the Edom Zayim get killed, we can't say from a kal v'chaymer that the Edom Zayim should get killed, because we don't learn out that some punishments in the Torah from a kal v'chaymer. The Tanya. Someone who is mizana with his sister, who is the daughter of his father or the daughter of his mother. The way the Torah says it, we only know someone who's his half sister, either because they share a mother or they share a father. How do we know if it's the full sister, both of his parents? The pasuk is an extra pasuk to tell you a full sister. So for actually, what do I need the pasuk to tell me that? If a half sister is chayiv, certainly should be chayiv for a full sister. It's a kal v'chaymer. And the fact that the Torah had to tell you a separate pasuk for a full sister, that's coming to tell you. We see from there that you don't learn an einish min hadin. You can't. If it were not for the extra pasuk, we wouldn't have known by using the kal v'chaymer. So that tells you that's a raya that you can't get an einish from a kal v'chaymer. How do you know? Like we've seen recently a few times, in order for the Torah to be mechayev you a einish, you need two things. The Torah has to tell you what the punishment is, and the Torah also has to tell you an azara, tell you you're not allowed to do this. How do we know that this din that which the Torah says that you shouldn't do something, that also can't come from a kal v'chaymer? Not just ein einshim min adin, but ein mazhirim min adin. Both of them can't come from a kal v'chaymer. How do you know this second part of azara? The Torah has to tell you directly it can't come from a kal v'chaymer. We have another pasuk that tells you this is the azhara for being ba on a sister, and the Torah again says it only about a half sister, a sister it's a sister, this daughter of his father, the daughter of his mother. How do we know if it's a full sister? The daughter of the wife of his father, who is also the child of his father. So the Gemara says again, why wouldn't we learn that from kal v'chaymer? The fact that the Torah had to tell you tells you, you see that you can't learn out as hara from a kal v'chaymer.
So we're learning out the same limud.
Well, it's different psukim. It's one's by the einshin and one's by the azhara. But it's coming to tell you that you basically can't conclude that you're chayiv on anything when the Torah doesn't tell you that it's also. It has to be a kal v'chaymer. Kal v'chaymer can't supply the lav or the einish.
We could have learned that concept from one source.
Sorry?
We could have learned the concept of ein einshim min hadin from one place. The second place didn't really.
It did, because one is einshim min hadin, one is ein mazhirim min hadin. would come in to tell you both factors, the two factors that you need in order for someone to be chayiv something min Torah. It has to be the Torah tells you what the punishment is. The Torah also tells you that you can't do it. And both of those things, both of those factors cannot be supplied with a kal v'chomer. The Torah has to tell you it directly. So we said that we brought a raya from the Mishnah that if someone kills someone and then Edom come and say, Edom come and say, Shimon and Levi come and say that Reuven killed someone. If other Edom come and Mazim Shimon and Levi, they're not going to be mechayev misa unless there was already a Gemara din. Gemara is asking, how do we know that would apply even in Chayiv Makkos? We just saw that Lagabi killing. How do we know that by Makkos there has to be a Gemara din in order for the Edom to be mechayev kasha zama? Tamaloyme Rasha. We learn it out of Gzeir Shav. It says Rasha Lagabi Makkos, and it says Vayim bin Hakos Rasha, and it says Rasha by a Reitzeach. It says, so that tells you, just like by Misa, it has to be after Madin, so too by Makkos. How do we know when someone says Eidus about someone who's Mechuyev Galus, that Malchus, even though you get Malchus for that as well, but it's a different source of Malchus. It's not from the same pasuk of Bayim ben Hakos Rasha. Asher Reitzeach. It says Reitzeach by Chayve Galius, and it says Reitzeach L'gabe Chayve Misa. So you learn out from there as well. It's only if there's already a Gemara. Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda ben Tavoy, Era ben Chama, Im leharakti Eid Zoyim lahaitzim ilibin shel tzadukim. Yehuda ben Tavoy says, I killed an Eid Zoyim in order to take away from the tzadukim. They said that you only get Misa after the person was killed on the say so of the Eidim, right? They like we saw in the Mishnah, they took it literally what the Torah says, nefesh b'nefesh. He had to have actually killed. So he said, Rabbi Yehuda ben Tavoy said, I actually killed an Eid Zaymim before, it was after Gemar Din, but before the Misa. But there was a different problem with your case. And you killed someone who really shouldn't have been killed. That case was a case where there were two Eidim. There were two Eidim, and only one of the Eidim got Hazam. And Reb Yehuda ben Tavoy killed that single Eid that was found to be an Eid Zayim, even though the other Eid was not found to be an Eid Zayim. We'll see in the next Mishnah, or maybe, in the next Mishnah, that you have to have both Eidim be Havazama. So Shimon Shedach said you did the wrong thing. The Mefarshim explained, how could he make such a mistake of Shimon Tavoy? So they say that it was a necessary situation where too many people were falsifying Eidus. So even though Me'ikar Adin, he shouldn't have been killed, he did he put him into the jail and he fed him the barley. That's how he killed him. But it was a Eislas Sefer Teresecha. But in any case, Shimon Shetach said you did the wrong thing. He said, now that you tell me I do the wrong thing, from now on I'm not going to say any halachas unless you're there to check on me. Used to go and cry and be davened by that aid. And everyone would hear him crying and asking for mechila from this aid that he killed wrongly. Everyone thought that the voice was coming from the grave. The guy was calling out, was crying out in anger that he was killed incorrectly. Amar Kaili, Amar Kashalihu. So Rabbi Yehuda ben Tavoy said, no, he's not calling. You could say that he was saying that I did wrong because I should have checked with Shimon Shetach to go so far. But this guy really did the wrong thing. He really was an Eid Zayim and he did deserve it. But I still shouldn't have passed him like that. So it's not his voice calling out because he's done. He knows in the Eilam Amos, he knows he did the wrong thing. And he said, Teda, Rabbi Shimon ben Tavoy said, I'm going to prove it to you Lemachar humes. Someday he said it b'lashon Nakia, when I'm going to die, ain't kailo nishma. You're not going to hear his voice anymore. Amalei Ravacha Breder Rav Ravashi. He said that that's not a good raya that Yehuda ben Tavai is bringing. Dilma bedina kam behede. First of all, maybe when Yehuda ben Tavai comes, he's going to meet up with this aide that he long ago got killed. He'll beat him in the Olam Emes, and he'll bring him to a din Torah, and that's going to get him to stop crying out. But it's not because he was really he wasn't crying out the whole time. Inami paisu paisa. Maybe when it comes to Olam Emes, I'll say, listen, we're both dead. You know, we can let bygones be bygones. Maybe he'll give it up. But it's not your raya was not a good raya. You're trying to say that when the voices stop when you die, because there could be other reasons why the voices stop, not necessarily because you were the one making the noise and not him. Look the Mishnah. Oh boy, we are late. Okay, but they're not starting yet. I don't think. I think it's going to take a while till they get going. Look the Mishnah. The pasuk says that through 2 or 3 Edom, someone gets killed. What does it have to tell you that if you believe 2 Edom, you also believe 3? It seems pretty obvious. It's coming to tell you that 3 is the same as 2. It's coming to you about the same. 3 Edom could be Mazim 2 Edom. That makes sense, right? If you have 3 against 2, why shouldn't we believe the 3? But it also goes the other way around. If there are 3 Edom who come and say that Reuben killed someone, and then 2 Edom come and say that the first 3 Edom are Mazim, and we will listen to the 2 connected the 3. Whoever comes to meet Mazim, as long as they're 2 Edom, they're believed. How do we know even 100? Because the pasuk only said Shtayim Mashloish. How do you know even more than 3? Tamaloimer Edom. Didn't have to say Apishnayim Edom Mashloish Edom. It could be Apishnayim Mashloish Edom. The extra word Edom tells you even up to 100. Rabbi Kiva, what did I skip? Sure. Rabbi Shimon Aimer, Mashnayim Ein Raganach Yushneim Zaymim, Af Shloish Ein Raganach Yush Shloshnim Zaymim. He says it's coming to tell you that just like if you have 2 Edom, if it's only if both of them are found to be Edom Zaymim that they get killed. The same would be told of 3, that they're not going to get killed until all 3 are found to be Zaymim. Rabbi Kiva disagrees. I mean, he doesn't disagree. He really agrees with what we said so far. Everything we said so far is true. But he says, but it's not coming to tell you that until all 3, it's not coming to tell you this kula, which is a true kula that he agrees to, but he's saying it's coming to tell you a chumrah. It's coming to tell you that one might say, if there are 2 Edom and come say an Edis, and they're found to be mazimim, then they both get killed. They do kashazam on them. But how do we know if there's a 3rd aid? The 3rd person's Edis was not necessary. He wasn't trying to kill the person. There already were 2 previous Edom. Maybe the 3rd aid should be off the hook for kashazama, because his Edis wasn't necessary. So he said that's what the pasuk is coming to tell you. The 3rd aid also gets misa if he's huzam. So what comes out is that Torah punishes someone who's not really necessary for the psak, the same as it paskins against someone who is necessary. The 3rd one, same as the first 2. Someone who joins into a mitzvah, even if he's not necessary, certainly will get the same schar as the original. So tomorrow, Mashnai nimsa echad mehen karvei pasal edusam betera, af shloisha nimsa echad mehen karvei pasal edusam betela. Didn't we learn out from the al pishnayim edim shloisha edim that the 2 is similar to 3? Is that if one of the edim who's part of this edus is found to be a karvei pasal, even if he's the 3rd aid, it's going to pasal the whole edus. The same thing will be even up to 100. Yossi says this din that a 3rd aid, like you said, we try to take it easy when it comes to killing someone. So if you have 3 Edom even if unnecessary aid is found to be a karav apostle, it passes. Avol b'dinei mamnis tashkam aid b'sham. He says that only is by dinei nefashos, but on dinei mamnis, if you have a dispute about $100 and there are 3 aidim, but one of them turns out to be a karav apostle, that's not going to disqualify the other two. Rabbi says no, it's going to disqualify even by dinei mamnis. The ema sign, however, is mancha hisruben. The Edom have to be in some way designated as Edom. It can't be just that they were standing around and they saw it. Aval bizman shelo hisruben. So one of the ways they could identify themselves as Edom is that they gave the hasra. So if all 3 gave the hasra, then even on dinei mamnis they're going to be considered together. Rabbi Yossi would say that even if they gave hasra together, we could disregard the one who's a karav. But if they didn't give hasra together, if that was the case, if that we say anyone who sees something is automatically an aid, then if a brother who's watching Nebuch, 2 brothers are together, and 2 ruffians come and kill one of the brothers, and there's 2 aidim watching it, you're not going to be able to kill the murderers, because you're going to say his brother was there, and his brother's an aid, so possible. So it has to be some designation. It has to be, for example, Rabbi Kiva gives the example of that they gave hasra. If the brother was the one who gave the hasra, don't kill him. And if you do so, you're going to be chayiv misa. And they said Afal Bikain was still going to do it. Then he showed he's trying to be an aid. Then it passes. But without outside of that, you wouldn't treat them as aidim. Okay, I think. Let me go check if they're starting. It's both 8 o'clock, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll have at least another 5 minutes. Hopefully we'll have a minute. Well, I guess with 3 people.
Did you dive in?
No. 3, but they only have 7. We have to learn. We're not behind. Either 4 or 5. I mean, by the last minute. We go in? I guess we should go in because then I'm going to start. Okay, we'll stop here. I think it's close enough.
You were at 12? You were at 12?
No.